I am Uptown Brown, Ratchet Poppy, but tonight on Uptown After Dark, we are going to refer to me as the sexual intellectual. That's the name that people are giving me out here in these streets. I am glad to accept it. Welcome again. We are bringing this show to you live on a Thursday night instead of a Wednesday night. I had to be on dad time yesterday, so I didn't want to cancel and postpone the show to next week because I know the After Dark crew, the family, everybody that supports us wants to see the show. So we decided to go on a Thursday this week as opposed to just scrapping the show and doing it next week. This is episode 27 of Uptown After Dark, entitled Fetishes, Fantasies, and Fornication. We are in the month of February. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and I figured why not talk about some fetishes, some fantasies, and some fornication. Especially since fetishes have been a big talk of recently. Carisha from the City Girls, she was on her Carisha Please podcast, and she had shared that one of the things that enjoys that would definitely be up under the umbrella of fetishes is she enjoys golden showers. You know what I'm saying? And not the ones that are actually made out of gold. She enjoys the real ones, the R. Kelly type. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to Carisha for being. Listen, the Miami girls is different. They be wild and they are with all the shits. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. Um, but first and foremost, before we dive into this episode, I want to give a few shout outs. Shout out to my RTI crew, that is First Lady Ramona, Luke the Harlem Skywalker, and Hollywood Dre. Shout out to the Executioner. Shout out to oh yeah, happy birthday to the Executioner. We still in Aquarius season. We still in here. We still out here. Shout out to my brother from another mother. Some people call him Trouble. I call him 007. He knows why. Um, but my brother Mel. Shout out to uh all the Aquarius gang. You know what I'm saying? I have an abundance of Aquariuses in my life, and we definitely turn up during Aquarius season. So shout out to all of y'all. I love y'all. Um, Shout out to all my fellow content creators out there doing your thing. Too many to mention, but if I don't shout you out specifically, blame it on the mind, not the heart. I love all y'all. You know what I'm saying? Um, so let's get into it. Fetishes, fantasies, and fornication. So first thing we're gonna do tonight is actually describe what a fetish is, right? Because um, a fetish can be many different things. All fetishes are. There are some people who have this misconception that fetishes are just like perverted and dirty when it's just natural things that people have, right? So a fetish is described as a form of sexual desire in which gratification is strongly linked to a particular object or activity or part of the body or other sexual organs, right? So basically, that could mean anything, right? That means that you could look at somebody. Listen, that means it's a lot of fetishes. That means I'm sure some of the women watching this probably got beard fetishes and want to be with a dude with a beard. This is the lace front though, so you know what I'm saying. I'm not really part of the. If you got a beard fetish, I'm not really the guy for you. But I mean, my lace front is looking good. You know what I'm saying. I know y'all got y'all lace fronts on. Don't shame me. Um, but seriously, that means that seeing somebody that has tattoos could be a fetish. There's plenty of things that can be described up under the umbrella of fetishes, right? So we're gonna just talk about some of that tonight. Talk about some of the more common fetishes, and then we're gonna talk about some of the I guess common and then commonly known fetishes, right? Because there's some that are just common, and then there's some that are commonly known, and then there's some that are just new, right? You know what I'm saying? So feet is definitely a top fetish, especially for men. Um, Black women, in my research, don't really fuck with feet like that. You know what I'm saying? But brothers definitely, love them some feet. I appreciate a woman with some nice feet. Appreciate a woman with a nice shoe game. Um, Getting her pedicures and all that done. That I don't think I would put that up under the umbrella of fetish for me. I don't have a foot fetish, even though I like a woman who keeps herself well groomed. That is definitely important. Grooming from head to toe. I will say one thing, right? I think as a man, when I look at a woman, even though I don't have a foot fetish, uh, having fucked up feet, if your feet look like knuckles, that's definitely a turn off. Like I'm not gonna, cause when a man looks at a woman and she looks good and he gets down to her feet and her feet are jacked, right? Like it just we literally think like head to toe, right? Like she's keeping herself tight from head to toe. So that means, what I'm saying, we expect the feet to be looking presentable. You know what I'm saying? I mean, usually, women got that one jacked up toe with the bunion or the corn, you know what I'm saying, and still got the nerve to and open toe shoes in the summer, you know what I'm saying, instead of getting that bitch cut off, you know what I'm saying. But, it is what it is, I guess all feet matter, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, right up under feet as a fetish, shoes are a fetish. This is another one that is dominated by men. Sometimes men are fascinated or infatuated with women and how they look and the shoes that they wear, and even want them to keep them on during the act. And I mean, listen, if she got on some nice lingeries and some shoes to go on with it, she could definitely keep them on while, what I'm saying, it's going down. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for that. I think that that is a plus. I'm all for it. Next, going down this list, ears. Ears are, what I'm saying, usually a sensitive spot for people. A arousal spot. It is a normal, common arousal spot for men and women. Um, somebody nibbling on the ears or kissing on the ears, or, just breathing ever so gently on your ears is definitely one of those things that could get you to go from 0 to 100 real quick. Um, you know, uh, like I said, this is just like the basics, the early stages of fetishes. Hair, right? For some people, a nice full head of hair, I don't really know if that applies. Listen, there's some black women I know, known for years. I ain't never seen what their real hair look like. So I don't think that that could be a fetish for me. Like if I'm your guy and I ain't never seen your real hair, that's problematic. You know what I'm saying? But I know women out there who have dated men for years and they dudes have never seen their real hair. That shit is amazing to me. Like, how the fuck did you manage that? Um, Underwear is another fetish, right? Some people love the lingerie. Um, I will say this, right? Fellas, and I've said this before, if your woman is taking the time to be vulnerable and try something different and she's putting on the lingerie for you, don't be dismissive of it. Appreciate it. Show a little bit of gratitude. Um, because at the end of the day, right, that's one of those things that could definitely break a woman's spirit. Like if she's taking the time to get herself all glammed up and she putting on the lingerie, she's thinking like, tonight gonna be the night. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do something special for my guy, and then you make her feel. You're not making her feel sexy. You're not making her feel wanted. You're not making her feel appreciated. Um, just know that that's going to lead to you having some issues moving forward in your relationship, right? When you wonder why she's not doing things, when you wonder why, she's not initiating contact, when you wonder why she's standoffish, just understand that you have probably contributed to this by you being dismissive of her when she's putting on that lingerie for you. That is a big thing that you know, men don't understand when it comes down to women when they're trying to, allow themselves to be vulnerable and open up and be sexy for that guy. Like, that's important. How you respond to that is key. Listen, even if you don't like it, fellas, I suggest that you lie and make her feel sexy anyway, right? And I I don't recommend lying in relationships, but this is one of those situations. I'm gonna tell you, my nigga lie. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like, listen, even if you think she look foolish, but baby, you look so good. Oh my god, listen, you better front. You know what I'm saying? You know, look at her and put Rihanna's head on her body and tell her she look good. Unless she puts it on and she got a baggy thong. You know what I'm saying? But nah, let me stop. You know what I'm saying? All booties matter, even the baggy thongs. You know what I'm saying? So another common fetish, especially for men, navel fetish, navel, belly button, whatever you want to call it. It's usually because, men, when they looking at that, nice flat stomach, a woman got a nice little six pack or a belly ring, whatever, you know, it draws our attention to what is below, right? It has us focused on what is below. So that's definitely, a fetish for some men. And then, we get into things like body piercings. There are people who, whether it be a nipple ring or belly button ring or clitoral ring. It's not that a air fetish, right? It's not that it's a specifically an air fetish. It's just that a air is a arousal spot, and if you go in terms with the definition of a fetish is, as I stated earlier, right? A fetish is a form of sexual desire in which gratification is strongly linked to a particular object or part of the body or sexual organs. So, since air is a part of your body, right? If you enjoy someone nibbling, kissing, breathing on your ear, by definition, you got to put that up under the umbrella of fetish. That's all that is. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily that a person is obsessed with an ear, but it's a sensitive spot for people. It gets people hot and bothered. Um, Back to this body piercing thing. I don't understand how men get the penis thing. What does they call that? Prince Albert. Um, nah, I'm not with it. I would never do that. Me and my uh, penis, we have a nice strong contract. We have an agreement. I don't do anything to hurt him. He's not going to do anything to hurt me. It's been working well, so I'm not gonna go against the agreement that what I'm saying, me and my guy have. You know what I'm saying? It's been working well for us. Um, as I stated earlier, tattoos can be a fetish because, I mean, whether you have a bunch of tattoos and someone finds you sexually appealing, or you like to look at people with tattoos. I mean, because sometimes you have situations where there are people who aren't tatted at all, but they just find tattoos on the flesh sexy, but they just don't have the cojones to do it themselves. So, but they like looking at the tattoos, right? It's a attractive thing to look at, especially if it is a nice piece of artwork and maybe it's positioned on a part of the body that is sexual in nature, like a nice, big, sexy thigh tattoo on some thick thighs. Always works. You know what I'm saying? Or a nice back tattoo or a leg tattoo, you know what I'm saying? Or Listen, for you ladies with the tramp stamps and you got your man or your ex-man name, or get rid of that shit. Nobody told you to do that dumb shit in the first place. Um, that is so. That's probably the one tattoo that is not attractive, right? Like, how do you expect your new guy to bend you over and clap them cheeks, and he see Leroy name all on your back? You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna work. Guarantee you, it's not gonna work out. Get it in like if you're gonna do it, get it in like like the Chinese characters, so that way you could just tell them it's whatever. Most motherfuckers don't know how to read that shit, so you can tell them it's whatever. Tell them it's your kids' names. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess maybe if a dude's back there, he could give her a baby shower back there. But I don't even want to see it. I'm just turned off. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I'm good on that one. And then uh, another tattoo, and I mean another fetish that is popular, one of the top fetishes is called oh man, gerontophilia. I'm sure I'm pronounced that all fucked up. I tried to pronounce it yesterday, got myself all fucked up. I was like 2 days ago. I was doing my research. You know what I'm saying? Finishing up the research. I know I pronounced that all wrong. But this is a sexual fetish in which younger people, whether it's a young man or a young woman, have a intense sexual attraction to someone older, not old enough to be uh the grandparents, but maybe somebody old enough to be the mom. But I mean, listen, the way our generation is looking, listen, we a sexy generation. Like the generation before us, they was alright. You know what I'm saying? Our generation is lit. Like if you was born in the 80s, uh 70, you know what I'm saying, mid 70s, 80s, you are looking fine as wine. But some of this generation coming out, like these millennials, some of y'all looking alright, but some of y'all looking real washed the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And that is a shame, right? So now we're gonna get into some of the more well-known fetishes, right? Like voyeurism, right? So if you don't know what voyeurism is a sexual fetish in which either you enjoy watching people engage in sexual activity or you enjoy being watched in sexual activity. Now, I think this is definitely a great way to add some extra spice to your life, add some extra excitement into your relationship because you can do it, you can involve other people, and you don't have to touch them. You don't have to actually really interact with them, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think honestly, right, like real talk, I would call voyeurism probably like the class you need to take before you get to the threesome class. And I'm gonna tell you why, right? Because if you can handle someone in the room just watching, right, then that will let you know whether you are able to actually have another person join in to participate. Because if you are uncomfortable with someone even watching, then you probably ain't ready for no damn threesome because that other person is just watching you. They not touching you. They not doing nothing. They just simply there just to watch and observe. Like you are supposed to be there to give them a show. It's supposed to be like live porn. It's supposed to be like OnlyFans but live, right? So, but if that is too much for you, if that is overwhelming for you, then you probably should not think about engaging in having a threesome, which is another popular fetish, right? In episode 1 of this lovely show that we call Uptown After Dark, I discussed how to have a successful threesome. And I'm gonna tell you, as I said on that episode, and this nugget is specifically for the men. If you don't have the physical or mental or emotional stamina or bandwidth to satisfy one woman, do not play yourself and decide that you want to attempt to add a second woman into the mix, right? Which is why, like I said, I think voyeurism is the class that you need to take uh, before you get into the threesome class, right? Now, many ways to do the voyeurism thing, right? You could do it virtually, right? You could have somebody watch, set up a camera or a laptop, and have somebody watch you that way, right? You can actually get a hotel room and have a third party just there, just watching as you and your partner get it in, or you can go to a sex club, an adult club, and you could do it that way. Like you could go there, watch other people, get yourself all worked up, and then decide that you want to partake in doing your own thing and have people watch you. Like there's many ways to do it, but I think for people who are trying to add an extra element, a new element, a different element to their sexual repertoire, I would recommend, trying the voyeurism thing. You know what I'm saying? You could have a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of things you could do. And like I said, this is like the one thing that you can do where you can actually involve a third party, but don't really have to interact with them, right? Which is why I said like it's the class before the threesome class. Um, because as we always say on this lovely program called Uptown After Dark, life is too short for boring sex. So if you're like me and you are in your early 40s and you thinking to yourself, damn, I probably only got another 30, 35 summers left before it's a wrap, right? I don't want to spend the next 30, 35 summers I got left with one person and we don't have exciting stories to tell. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no excitement. Like we just doing it the same way we've been doing it, right? Listen, for the people that are okay with that, cool. Kudos to you. For me, I don't, and I think for most people, that's not really what they want. So you gotta really understand and figure out how you're gonna navigate the next chapters of your life and make sure that you have some sort of sexual compatibility, which is good, which is having a conversation about fetishes is a great way to assess you and your partner's sexual compatibility, so that way you can figure out whether this person is for you or whether they're not for you. Because if you're into spanking, you're into wax play, you're into golden showers, you're into BDSM, you're into role play. If you're into these type of things and your partner is not, there's probably not going to be a lot of longevity in that situation, right? Because either the person that you with that is not into that is probably going to be turned off or look at you like you're a weirdo because they don't understand why you enjoy the things you do, when they should just be trying to look at you. And listen, if they are judging you, that's not really a person you want in your life anyway, right? Because everybody should reserve the right to enjoy what they like physically, mentally, and sexually without being judged. Everybody has the right to have their own personal preferences for what they enjoy physically, mentally, and sexually, right? So if A dude tell you he don't like you because you light skin, he wasn't the one for you. Y'all just not compatible, right? If a dude tell you, you know what I'm saying, uh, he don't like you because you got pancake butt, you know what I'm saying, you're not the one for him, right? If you know, vice the same thing. Like, listen, brother, if a woman tell you, you only 5'1", I like a taller man, brother, you know what I'm saying, she ain't the one for you, right? It is what it is. Um, I think we need to sometimes we need to, and I understand that it can be difficult, right? Rejection doesn't feel good, but we gotta stop over personalizing rejection when we are on the receiving end of it, because at the end of the day, there could be something that you like that you just don't want to deal with, and you gotta respectfully, and I, like I said, I understand it can be tough when you are on the receiving end of said rejection, but sometimes you just gotta just take it like a G and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can do. Um, you know, golden showers. I started off talking about this. Carisha was talking about golden showers on her podcast. Um, Listen, um, if you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. Again, I think your bedroom, you got to keep it on Planet Fitness time. It's supposed to be a judgment-free zone, right? And also understand, right? And I think this is another misconception about fetishes, right? Um, just because a person enjoys something specific, right? And maybe you are not into it. And for the sake of this conversation, I think I'm going to give an example, right? So let's say um, a guy is dealing with a woman, and in their conversations about what they enjoy sexually, he expresses that he enjoys pegging, right? For those of you who don't know what pegging is when a woman decides that she wants to penetrate a man, right? It could be fingers. I don't know if she does it with her tongue, whether it's that's considered under the umbrella of pegging. But basically her penetrating a man, right? So whether it's with her fingers or a toy or a dildo, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's what pegging is. You know what I'm saying? When a man is being penetrated by his lady, right? Now let's say a guy expresses that he enjoys that, right? Um, just because a person enjoys a specific thing, that doesn't mean, I think you got to have a conversation with that man, right? Because you got to have a conversation with this man, and the conversation should go as follows: is this something that you have to have? If this is a need for you, or is it something that you've experienced, you enjoyed it, but you're okay with going without it, right? The reason you need to have that conversation is because you might meet somebody and you could run down a list of 4 or 5 things that you're into, and y'all might be in alignment, and then you reach that one thing and they're like, nah, I don't really think this is for me. That might not necessarily mean that you're not compatible with this person, right? Every box doesn't have to be checked, but this is where the conversation about your specific needs and how important this thing to you is, because of the guy saying like, nah, I need that, you know what I'm saying, then clearly they aren't gonna be a suitable match. But if the man says to her, like, I'm good, I can live without it, I experienced it once in the previous relationship, it was cool, I enjoyed it, but I don't need it in every relationship that I have, then they realize that it's a workable situation. and they can move forward. So I think that's another misconception, like I said, about fetishes, is that some people believe that because a person is into something or they enjoy something, that that's something that they have to do all the time. Like, I'm sure Carisha isn't getting peed on every other day. You know what I'm saying? Right? Listen, even because, I mean, and the sad part is, right, is that you would think somewhere along the lines that when it comes down to specific things, that common sense would come into play, because most people don't have uh or you shouldn't have a routine sex life, right? You shouldn't know every step of the way what your partner's gonna do. And, like, like, he's gonna start with kissing my neck, and then he's gonna move down and he's gonna suck my boobs, and then he's gonna rub on my clitoris, and then like, if that's the checklist every time, I would personally tell you, you probably got a boring sex life, right? But which is why you got to mix it up, right? You got to try different positions. You got to, but in the spirit of mixing it up, this is how you understand that just because a person enjoys specific things doesn't mean that it has to, that box has to be checked every time you engage, right? It's just simply about, taking the time to have a rotation or a repertoire or a nice bag of tricks to pull from. Now, this next thing I want to talk about, role play. Uh, Role play could be fun. Um, it could be anything from, your lady putting on a different color wig, or maybe a little maid's uniform, or one of the fun but slightly creepier ones, the ever so coveted high school girl uniform skirt. Listen, gets them every time, but that was a little, like, But listen, it's fantasy, right? So we don't judge, right? You know what I'm saying? As long as the woman that is putting on this little high school Catholic girl uniform is an adult, who cares if she, it's role play. It's supposed to be fun, right? You know what I'm saying? You, if, maybe if you're a brother, you work construction, you might just want to come kick in the door with your hard hat and your tool belt on. Pow! You know what I'm saying? I'm here to lay some pipe. However you want to do it, you know what I'm saying? But role play could definitely be a fun and exciting way to add some spice into your your experience, your sexual experience. Um, BDSM, I talked about it. BDSM stands for. Uh, I wrote down a definition. Um, you know what I'm saying? What is it? Why is it not here on my notes? Anyway, I'm gonna keep it going. You know what I'm saying? BDSM. You know, some people want to get into it. You know what I'm saying? I want to. You know what I'm saying? I want to take the time to break down what BDSM really is. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people hear it, and for the people who are more on the vanilla side of things, right? That means that you are boring and bland. If you want to know what vanilla means, that is the term used within the sexual community for people who are just boring and bland. They are referred to as vanilla, right? You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, uh, and that shit is trash. Like I told you, you know what I'm saying? Life is too short for boring sex. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that anyone who is a grown ass adult should be engaging in boring sexual activity. You know what I'm saying? Wax play. If you into the wax thing, uh, just understand that there's a trick to it, right? You know what I'm saying? The trick to the wax thing is, for those people who have engaged or haven't engaged, this is the pro tip for having sex with wax, right? So the higher you hold your candle over the person that you are going to pour the wax on, the more time the wax has to cool before it hits the flesh, and therefore you will not burn or harm the person that you are engaging in this wax play, right? I've definitely have heard experiences where people are engaging in wax play, and the next thing you know, motherfuckers look like they got cigarette burns and shit. Look like somebody put a cigarette out on them. You know what I'm saying? You know, just because they didn't do it right. So if you're gonna engage in the wax play, please make sure that you take the time to do it right. Now, back to this BDSM, right? Uh, Bondage, that's what the B is. Bondage, discipline or domination, submission, and sadomasochism, right? So bondage, we know what that is. That's when you get the handcuffs, you tie somebody up, uh, you restrain them in some way, right? Little blindfold action if you know what I'm saying, you want to add that. Uh Discipline, right? That means that somebody's in charge of this shit, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's a person that's in charge, and then there's a person that needs to be disciplined, right? Whichever role you want to take in that situation, um, it is what it is. And sadomasochist, right? And that goes back to, you know what I'm saying, the discipline portion, right? So sado, um, which is I just learned from my lovely producer, is Latin for Satan, right? You know what I'm saying? So Satan is the person that is the disciplinarian, right? They are the person that is in charge. They are the person that is inflicting the pain and or embarrassment or humiliation. That's the word. They're inflicting the pain and or humiliation onto their partner, and the masochist is the person who is receiving the pain and or humiliation from their partner, right? And then you have, which is known as a switch, right? Now the switch is the person that is able to enjoy both. One day they can be the Sado and be in charge and inflict all of the pain and the damage and the discipline. And then the next day they can be the masochist and they could be the person on the receiving end. The switches are rare. They're definitely online. If you Google like sex quizzes, there are, things that you can do, quizzes that you can take to figure out what your sexual compatibility is, to figure out whether you are a sadomasochist or a switch, or figure out what your sexual preferences. Because the same way that there is a love language quiz, there's a sex language. We talked about sex language in episode 5 of Uptown After Dark, love language versus sex language. I suggest that you guys go check that out so you can, learn a little bit more about how sex language really works out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? We got the information for you. Um, but whatever you do, whatever you choose to enjoy behind your closed doors is your business, right? So whether you are gay, straight, queer, trans, or you enjoy any of those categories, right? That is your business, right? Nobody should be asking you or giving a fuck about what you choose to do in your bedroom behind closed doors. That is your business. If you decide that you want to be an open book and you just don't care and you are going to share with the world, that is also your business. You know, like I said, I think nobody should be judged for what they like or do not like. Everybody has the right to enjoy what they want to enjoy and not enjoy what they want to enjoy without being judged. Um, with that being said, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And listen, right? Um, I always say pussy or sex in general, right, is not a Valentine's Day gift. It ain't. But unless it's new, right? But it could very well be new if y'all get into some role play. Listen, if you know, Lisa decides that she wants to be LaQuisha, or Lisa wants to be Mistress Ebony for the night, then guess what? You fucking Mistress Ebony. And Mistress Ebony might put it on your ass. You know what I'm saying? She might have a whole bag of tricks waiting for you, some blindfolds, stick a feather in your ass. You know what I'm saying? Listen, might go down. You know what I'm saying? But generally speaking, I wanted to get back into some of this sexual content that we have not been talking about for the last few episodes, but especially since Valentine's Day is coming up. It's one of my favorite times of the year, and not necessarily because I am a fan of Valentine's Day. Is because I realized if it wasn't for Valentine's Day, I wouldn't be here because I'm a motherfucking Scorpio. And for anybody who, if your math is mathing, you understand that if you are a Scorpio, that means that you were probably conceived in the month of February, somewhere around. Like I'm, my birthday is in the middle of November, which means that somewhere around Valentine's Day, my parents, what I'm saying, they was getting it in. And then here you have Sir Uptown, the sexual intellectual, what I'm saying, in the building. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. You know what I'm saying? This is another one of those things that makes me more than certified to be able to discuss this, because I'm a product of an act of love. You know what I'm saying? During the month of love. You know what I'm saying? This is all destined for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all notice. Right? But we about to get into this Ask Uptown segment for all the people that are, gonna take some time to try some new fetishes and experiment and do some things for Valentine's Day, or just do it just because it's fucking Wednesday, right? You want to have a wild out Wednesday situation, you want to have a thirsty Thursday situation, freaky Friday situation, sultry Saturday, however you want to do it. If you want to do it just cause, not just cause it's Valentine's Day, do it. Right? You don't need an excuse. You don't need a special day to add some excitement to your life, add some excitement to your bedroom, make your partner feel sexy and desired. You could just do it because that's what you feel like doing. And that's always the best way to do it. You don't need to wait for Valentine's Day or any particular day. Just do it because that's what you feel in your spirit. And if that's what you feel in your spirit, it'll all come out well. You know what I'm saying? Get your freak on, you know what I'm saying, as Dillagaff just stated. Get your freak on. You know what I'm saying? Fly your freak flag, all that good shit. Right? Now just stay tuned with me, you guys. I'm about to get into this Ask Uptown segment. Usually how we end this thing off, we have an Ask Uptown segment or the One Wish segment. We haven't had the One Wish in a while, but we're going to get back to that soon later on. But in the meantime, right now, we got the Ask Uptown segment. So bear with me. It says, Dear Uptown, I am a woman with a 5-year-old child. My kid's father has other children. However, we were never in a relationship, but we were intimate often. Not using protection, I got pregnant and we have a child. He has not been honoring the financial agreement we made. I recently took him to court for child support. He is recently married and wants me to remove the support order. What advice do you have? So, I like to read the email and then go back, read it again and dissect it. So, again, woman, 5-year-old child, kid's father has other children. Sounds clean so far. Uh, they were never in a relationship, but were intimate often. So that means you was the sneaky link or the side joint. Um, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having a sneaky link. Nothing wrong with being a side pities, or maybe y'all both just wanted to, little friends with benefits. You know what I'm saying? You see the retired side piece hat right now. You know what I'm saying? You could always go on uptownafterdark.com if you're trying to cop that. This one ain't up there yet, though. This one is new. This is exclusive. This is for me. I get the exclusive first, right? The team gets the exclusive first, and then they get put into the world. Anyway, we're going to get back to the email. Having sex often and not using protection. Again, shout out to B Condoms. You wouldn't be in this situation. You wouldn't be in this situation if you were using B condoms. Be smarter. Be ready for the back shots. B condoms. Sooner or later, B condoms was gonna cut a check. Trust me. Anyway, but they are a black-owned condom company. You know what I'm saying? Platinum condoms, B condoms. You know what I'm saying? Black-owned by black. Anyway, you got pregnant while you were using sex often and not using B condoms. That's usually how it kind of works. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that rhythm method don't be in sync sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. Listen, condom sex is okay, but I've never heard somebody say, you know what I'm saying, woo, that condom sex was amazing. I said it before. Like, yeah. Anyways, got pregnant. They have a child. He has not been honoring the financial agreement that you guys made. That sucks. She recently took him to court for child support. He is recently married and wants her to remove the support order. So, I'm gonna get into the married. Yeah, let me address the light stuff first, and then I'm gonna get into the heavy analytics of this Axe Uptown, right? So he recently got married and he wants her to remove the order. He recently got married. He's probably thinking to himself he wants to be able to do things with his wife. I don't know if his other children are with his wife or whether he has children spread out in the world. The email does not say, but I do understand that sometimes when you have child support and you have arrears of things like that, one of the first things that they do is take your driver's license and take your passport, which is definitely going to affect his marriage if him and his wife plan on traveling and enjoying their marital life together. So I could understand from that standpoint why he might want her to remove the child support order. And it doesn't say where they're from, but I do know that depending on the state, once your child support reaches a certain amount, there will be a warrant issue for his arrest. So maybe that is another reason why he would like the child support removed, because, I mean, nobody wants to go to jail for child support. Nobody wants to go to jail, period, but nobody wants to go to jail for child support. What I do not see here in this email is if he sees the child often. This is just mainly about the financial agreement, right? So what I am going to say to the men, this is my message to the men, right? You got to pick a struggle, right? You can't not see your kids and not pay. That's number one. Can't not see your kids and not pay. You got to pick a struggle. So although you should be doing both, right? I think a man should be spending quality time with his children and making sure that financially he is contributing. You cannot do both. So if you're not going to be around, you got to pay, my nigga, right? If you are physically around and you are physically present, that doesn't mean that you don't got to pay. But you have to pick a struggle. I think, for some women, especially women who possess the financial means of doing it on their own, even though they shouldn't have to. Sometimes it's really just about having that man's presence in the child's life and him being able to interact. And men need to understand that, right? You got to pick a struggle. You can't, you know what I'm saying, not be around and not pay. But specifically, uh, talking about this financial part, and this is the part that's for the fellas, right? So I am a man who used to be on court ordered child support, right? Now, I just have a agreement with, the mother of my children, and we work it out, not through the courts, right? But I learned something through the court ordered child support, right? You know what I'm saying? And maybe I think if men apply this logic, it could help them out better, right? So, based on the amount that they were taking out, right? Um, the way I calculated was, let's just use simple numbers, right? Let's say a man makes $500 a week, right? After taxes, right? Um, and then he still has to pay child support. Let's say, you know what I'm saying, you got to pay $100 a week in child support. That means that when you go to work on Monday, you are not working for yourself. You are working to pay for your kids, right? That means you don't start taking care of yourself until Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? Friday. That's the money that's yours. Monday is for your kids. Now, this is how you have to keep this in mind, right? That if you decide you want to call out on Friday because you went out Thursday night, you don't short your child, you short yourself. That means that the money that is not in your check, you got to figure out how to make those ends meet. You don't decide that you want to say to your kid's mother, ex-wife, whatever, oh, well, I'm kind of short this week, you know what I'm saying? Could you let me slide? No, you take the L yourself and then figure out how to make the ends meet. You don't force her to struggle and figure out how to make the ends meet, right? If men think with this mentality, one, you probably won't ever have to go to court, but you have to always be a man of your word, right? Another way you need to think about this, right? I remember last year, I went on a business trip, right? I was going for like about a week and a half. Um, in my budget for my trip was the child support that I know I need to send my children's mother for the kids, because I can't say to her, well, I didn't go to work this week. I was on vacation. So your money just gonna have to be short this week, right? I planned ahead to make sure that I had money to take care of my child support while I was on fucking vacation. So if you're gonna live your life and travel and do things, and you wanna still enjoy your life, you can, but you gotta, what I'm saying, put in the extra work. So that might mean that if you got a vacation coming, before your vacation, you work some overtime to have an extra set of money, not so you could ball out on your trip, but so you can make sure your responsibilities are taken care of while you're going on your trip. You don't just get to shortchange your children or put your kid's mother in a situation where now she gotta do some extra borrowing from Peter to pay Paul this week because you decided you wanted to do some other shit. You can't put yourself first. You got to put your family first. And if more men understood this and thought like this, there will be less people arguing and bickering in child support. Remember, you work to take care of the children first, then everything after that is yours. Um, I hope the men that are watching this, or if the women are watching this, and they can share this with some men, because I don't think that going to court to work on child support is really helpful for the families, right? I think that at the end of the day, families should be able to work things out amongst themselves. But if they cannot, then absolutely, you know what I'm saying, let the courts handle it. But I think, people should attempt to work things out among themselves. But to my fellas out there, if you want to have an out of court agreement with the mother of your child, ex-wife, whomever, um, you have to show that you are a stand-up dude, which means that your mentality and your actions have to reflect that, which means that the family comes first before your pockets. If you think with that mentality and you move that way, you'll never have any problems. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just with a woman who is just selfish and greedy, and then, you know what I'm saying, that's a whole different set of circumstances, right? But if you are with a reasonable woman and you handle things that way, I promise you will have less problems. So that's the advice that I got, right? Like, if obviously you guys in court, it is what it is. But if you want to work on having an out of court agreement with this gentleman, he has to prove that he's worthy of having it. He should not just get it based on his word, unless his word is bond, right? His word has to be bond, and he has to prove that he is worthy of it, and he has to earn it. If not, then listen, the courts got you. But when the courts get involved, things start to get into arrears. It affects your credit. It affects your it's going to affect his marriage. Nobody wants that. He just needs to figure out how to do things honorably, and he needs to, you know, honor the agreement that they made. If he wants to not have, if he wants to have an out of court situation. Um, that's all I got for you guys tonight. My name is Uptown, the sexual intellectual. See you guys on the next episode of Uptown After Dark. Please remember to follow Uptown After Dark on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, of course. We see you guys next week. Not next week, but on the next episode. And as always, you can live or be living. It is your choice. Peace. I'm out of here. Good night.